Hello, happy Monday. So, Darcy and I were just chatting about this 2016 thing that's all over social media where people are going back and finding pictures of themselves in 2016 and like reflecting on 10 years ago. And we were just talking about it and we were talking about how we've changed and what we valued back in 2016, what we thought our lives would be like in 10 years, right? And now that we're sitting here 10 years later, um something really stood out to me. The thing that stood out to me most was that when I go back to that 2016 version of me, I have to tell you that was like the rise of my success. I was crushing in my business. I mean, I really was happy across the board. Like I look back at those pictures and we were traveling and we had a lot of extra income and the boys were young and we were just, loving parenting. And I mean, there was a lot of wonderful stuff happening. And I don't know how much I really thought about in 10 years what would my life look like, but I will tell you, I 1000% valued money. It was very monetary focused. It was like, we have money to do this, and I wanted the purse and the car and like all of the things. Like, it was all just that, like, what's that? What's the term? What am I trying to say?
I
Like
don't know.
stuff.
Material.
Material. Thank you. All the material stuff. It was very materialistic for me back then. And now when I shift and I think about 10 years later, I'm like, wow, my values have shifted so much from material and monetary to inner peace. It's more about the inner world than it is about the external. Like, yeah. So I don't know. What was your experience? Did you feel the same way, Dars?
Yeah, I guess I just feel like starting in 2016, more so the beginning of 2017 for me, there was just in the last 10 years a huge shift and shakeup and some really challenging things that came into my life that I now see as such lessons, but they felt so dark and heavy and hard, were really that shakeup of repositioning my value system as well. Because similarly, we were struggling financially. I had also joined network marketing. It was bringing in abundance that we had never seen before. And I just wanted the money because I thought it would make me feel a certain way, right? That's what I was after. And so, actually, some big stuff came up in 2017 that really shook me. And really, though, I remember January of 2019, I think, or maybe 2020. I just remember it really reaching a pinnacle, breakdown, low point where I was like, I had reached the top of our company. We were at that retreat in a women's retreat out in California. And it was like I just sat there having her say things, that were outside of the financial blessings and was like, whoa, I have done it all. I've reached the pinnacle and I'm not feeling what I thought I was supposed to feel inside. And that's when everything shifted to like,
It was
I
like
need to get
2016. You saw when I reach the top, then I will feel this way. So as you go through this
yeah,
journey and you're there, you're actually there for a year or so
smacked in my face.
before
Yep.
you really realized that was your shift from that monetary
Yep.
into
Yeah.
inner peace value.
Exactly. So like actually now I have it all or what I imagined, right? Like I have it all. I have the achievement. I was looking for achievement too. I had achievement, I had money, I kind of had it all and then there was still this deep hole of something missing. So that's really I think when my shift was like there's something more out here outside of money. And when then I really realized it's that internal happiness, it's that internal peace, that none of this outside stuff can fill you guys what we have to heal within ourselves. That inner happiness and peace, like you can have it now if you start the work. It's not about money. I think that was what I finally realized. It wasn't
Yeah, because
I was
I would have to think through my 10-year journey into that as well, because I definitely went through that process. And mine feels like a very rocky road, ups and downs and these incredible peaks and then real deep valleys. And but you're right, it was almost this for me, it felt like a cracking open. There were multiple cracking opens that happened that
yeah,
shifted me into, oh, it was like this graspiness of like, when I get this externally, then I will feel this internally. And the work is the internal work. And I think and going back to what we talked about, that identity in
mhm,
January, we really want to focus on identity. It's having that identity of that peaceful version of you. And then you're able to shift into how you handle the external, right? From rooted in that more peaceful, grounded version of you.
It's so, so interesting how I feel. Okay, so for so much of my life, I was looking for control, right? Controlling everything outside of me. And I never stopped to look inward. And like now I feel like I have this internal control over when things happen in my life, my responses, my reactions. Like I feel such true control. Whereas before I was searching for this like false
Yes.
sense of control outside of me. And it's just fascinating, like this work. And so I think looking back, I do not ever want to go back to 2016. I'm so glad for the growth I've done. I'm so glad that my focus or whatever has completely changed to this internal peace and happiness over money, right? My
So,
inner
so
well-being is
here's
the
my question.
value.
Do you think that we are rare? Do you think most people went through that shift, or do you think people are now going through that shift? Do you think people are identifying more and more with this concept of monetary versus inner peace being the thing they value?
I think people are leaning in. I feel like the world has been so busy and COVID and social media keeping up with the Joneses and show the perfect life. I feel like people are really swinging back to, I want realness. And AI, like I want realness. I want real people. I want to feel love. I want to feel safety. I want to feel community. I want to be more my authentic self. So I think for sure we are swinging back to a want of authenticity and not fake materialistic. I do.
And I
Don't
think
you?
the
Do
more
you?
crazy externally things get, which let's be honest, there's some crazy stuff externally
Crazy.
happening. And like you were saying, that control, like when all of this is better out here, then I will feel this inside, right? It's like everything out here is so crazy that
And out of our control, and we cannot control it.
yes, you can't control it. There's literally no way to control it. So you either spiral into a lot of mental health issues, all, really, really off kilter, or you start at which, like what you have to hit rock bottom, right? To start the shift, or you really start tuning into who are those people that are peaceful, that are like, no matter what happens externally, and how can I learn from them? And I think in a way, full circle, this is what Darcy and I want to do. We want to show you guys, like, we have done this work. We want to help you do this work. Like, that cracking open that happens, I believe it's going to happen to everyone at some level. And so you get to decide if you spiral into the anxiety and despair till you hit rock bottom to find the healing, or are you willing at some point to look and say, who out there is like finding peace in all this chaos, and what can I learn from them? And then those of us who are in peace being openly available to share. I think that's what's important too.
Yeah. And at my rock bottom was when I reached for help. That's when I wanted someone who was ahead of me to, I hired a coach. I hired a coach because in my world, that inner wellness was valuable. It
Mhm.
was worth spending some money on to get to where I am now. Kind of like, you value buying the purse. It was like, no, I value finding this inner
Oh
wellness.
my gosh, right? And I feel like what better investment than that inner work?
Oh, changed my life, changed my parenting,
For me, I think it
my
still continues. We both still continue to invest in
I
that.
know. Yeah. Yeah.
And now we
To people
both
who are a
are
little bit ahead of
creating
me.
creating our own platforms to be able to share. I mean, this is a good example. I feel like this page, us just sharing our stories. I think all of us, the more we can get authentic and real about what our experience has been, the more we help people as they are kind of working through this shift from valuing monetary to valuing the inner peace. So,
So my tip to you guys is think back to the last 10 years. And I want you, what I've learned in some of my coaching is like things happen, really hard, hurtful things happen. And we carry the stories of that situation. And I have actually learned through some of my coaches that you can go back and rewrite those situations and stories, yes, I'm not saying that they weren't hard and they weren't dark, but now when I can look back, I see with gratitude the lessons and what actually was going on here for my better good, right? Everything I believe everything is always working out for us. And humaning is like lessons and learning, and there's never anything wrong. So it's like going back and thinking, like, gosh, that was deep and dark and hard. What was the gratitude? What was it here to teach me? Totally shifts my feelings that I carry from those experiences. So think back to like, were there hard times? Were they cracking you open? What was the lesson in them? Can you find a little bit of gratitude in a lesson? It will just help that storyline, I think.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
get curious. Like, I'm curious if you guys feel this too. Like, does anybody else feel like they've shifted from monetary
Mm.
to valuing the inner peace? Or maybe you're waking up to it now. Or maybe I think a lot of people, 2020 was a big shift of like, holy crap, I'm home with my family. And anyway, we can
Yeah.
go on and on
Yeah.
about all that, but
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
like to keep these short and sweet. We just love to get on here and share. This is like a little peek behind the curtain to what Darcy and I talk about when we sit on Zoom calls and just like, solve all
Process
the
life,
problems in the world
process life together.
all the time. All right. Love you guys.
I love you. Bye.